From UFOs to psychic powers and government conspiracies, history is riddled with unexplained events. You can turn back now, or learn the stuff they don't want you to know. Here are the facts. Virtually every person on the planet has at one time or another experienced a nightmare. The word itself originally described an evil female spirit afflicting sleepers with a feeling of suffocation, but today it's used to describe any unpleasant dream. They're a type of parasomnia or sleep disruption universal to humanity. Nightmares are common for children, and anywhere from 50 to 85% of adults admit to having the occasional nightmare. Since these disturbing dreams of ghouls, goblins, teeth falling out, and so on are so common, nightmares aren't considered a disorder until they become persistent, and this happens perhaps more often than you'd think. For some people, these dreams are all too real. During an episode of Coast to Coast AM in April of 2001, host Art Bell discussed the concept of shadow people. Hazy, indistinct figures existing at the edge of vision. While this episode popularized the concept, it also startled thousands of listeners, many whom had experienced a very similar phenomenon. At Bell's suggestion, listeners began sending in their drawings and stories of shadow people. They also described a similar set of symptoms: paralysis, the feeling of being watched, auditory and visual hallucinations. How could so many people experience such a similar thing? Here's where it gets crazy. The original concept of a nightmare, an incubus or succubus suffocating hapless slumberers, is ancient and exists in cultures across the world. In Thailand, it's the Fe'am. In Turkey, it's blamed on jinn, and in other countries, it's known as the night hag. The belief is almost always the same. The monster, whether it's a demon, a witch, a shadow, a black cat, or a ghost, sits on or restrains a person, rendering them immobile, asphyxiating them either by choking off their breath or in some cases, stealing it. This isn't just some old campfire story. Scientists call the phenomenon sleep paralysis and still aren't completely sure what causes it. Various theories describe it as an overlap of stages of REM and waking cycles, or out-of-balance neural functions, or sleep deprivation, the disturbance of routine sleep patterns. According to an estimate by Dr. Maurice M. Ohayon, sleep paralysis affects somewhere between 6 to 8% of the population. As of 2015, there are more than 7.3 billion people on the planet, meaning that even with the lower estimate, almost 443 million people experience sleep paralysis. So why do they describe such similar things? To most people, this just means that human beings are experiencing the same symptoms of a particular parasomnia and coming up with culturally specific explanations. On the other hand, some of the people who experience sleep paralysis are convinced that the creatures they see are real. While the internet is rife with alleged pictures of shadow people and other nocturnal visitors, none of the photos have, at this point, been proven to be anything other than misidentifications or fakes. Yet each year, more and more people become convinced that they are being visited, tortured, haunted by real entities. Despite the numerous descriptions and anecdotes on the side of the believers, and despite ongoing research on the side of the skeptics, neither party at this point can completely explain the mechanics of sleep paralysis. For the psychologists and other experts in the field, it's just a matter of conducting more research and, ultimately, creating an effective treatment. For some of the victims, however, the monsters are real, and that's the stuff the waking world doesn't want you to know.
I began hearing voices and screams and crying. I would hear all the sounds of hell. And that is when the shadow man would come.
And he would walk disjointed.